Get ready to be inspired, folks, because this bunch of anything but overnight successes all managed to eventually establish themselves as some of the most dominant, exciting, and popular stars in the game. So I am Gareth here from What Culture Wrestling, and here are 9 wrestling gimmicks that took years to get over. Number 9, Boogs was occasionally turning heads in developmental and on YouTube for years. While it may have taken years for WWE to finally realize what they had with the meaty ball of guitar shredding charisma that is this mustache titan, the folks taking in weekly episodes of NXT back in 2019 quickly knew there was something special about this lad. Boogs was also turning heads with his explosive personality on his YouTube channel. His I Need a Hero workout is a work of hulking art. And from there, it didn't take long for the main roster crowd to fall in love with the charming powerhouse too. Number 8, the guns are finally up after being all elite since 2020. Despite clearly being two lads who boasted the same sort of giddy energy and personality as their old man, Austin and Colton Gunn never really found their own identities whilst working as part of the Gunn Club. And it was only after walking away from an alliance with the Acclaimed and their Pops a few years into their run on the AEW roster when the brothers started to really grow and find themselves as a tag unit. Sure, they definitely weren't ready to hold AEW World Tag Team Gold when they shockingly bested Max Caster and Anthony Bowens for the belts in February of this year. It took them a few years to step out of their degenerate father's shadow and cement themselves as one of the most entertaining teams on the AEW roster. But their always outrageous collision antics were well worth the wait. Number 7, it took Braun Strowman a while to shake off his Wyatt family. The monster among men didn't really do much to convince audiences that he was anything more than Vince McMahon's latest monster of the month during that first year alongside Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and Eric Rowan, with Braun Strowman then being unceremoniously split from his family during the 2016 draft. And while many understandably assumed that this could be the beginning of the end for the big man, Strowman remarkably began making an impact in more ways than one. His thrilling squashes were dynamic and quickly became weekly Red Show highlights, as he tore through the likes of Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns before ultimately colliding with Brock Lesnar over the Universal Championship. Fans soon couldn't resist boarding the Strowman Express. But I've got a question for you. What do you think is the greatest squash of all time? Let me know in the comment section down below. Number 6, Roman Reigns finally becomes the top guy after 6 years of trying. Throughout the Shield's run as the main roster's Hounds of Justice, it was painfully clear exactly who WWE felt was their undisputed top guy of tomorrow. However, once the unit dramatically split in 2014, fans quickly grew tired of the big dog character and simply would not accept the new chosen one as their top babyface in the years that followed. But his decision to step away from the ring in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic finally set the stage for the character tweak that would finally turn him into the undisputed biggest star in the industry WWE had wanted him to be all along. Gone were the cheesy one-liners, cringy hand gestures, and lazy Shield-esque presentation. The tribal chief that appeared at SummerSlam 2020 quickly established himself as a badass heel force you couldn't help but get behind during the Thunderdome era. And after years of wanting nothing to do with him, fans now could not wait to acknowledge Reigns when they finally returned in 2021. Number 5, Elias drifts on NXT for years before being called up. Elias Samson first popped up on NXT programming alongside a certain House of Black figure, Buddy Matthews. And after spending the next year or so getting some reps in on the Black and Gold show, Elias finally appeared to have found his stage when he first strolled onto the Red brand in April 2017. This unassuming debut very quickly turned into an unexpected movement in the months that followed, with the bearded acoustic star's weekly concerts regularly producing deafening reactions as he tore down the various hometown teams of those still happily walking with Elias. One of the rare NXT call-ups that led to a far more successful run than the one he drifted through in Full Sail. Number 4, Seth Rollins did not become a popular visionary overnight. 2020 was a rather dull year for WWE's resident architect. After winning the Royal Rumble and eventually lifting the Universal Championship as one of the hottest babyfaces in the company the year prior, Seth Rollins returned to the dark side as he morphed into Raw's droning Monday Night Messiah. But that obsession with the greater good, shut it! From his stunning all-white clothing at WrestleMania 36 to his Rey Mysterio-inspired Phantom different gear at the following SummerSlam. Rollins would eventually take these ridiculous and flamboyant outfits and use them as the foundation for a character that would eventually take him right back to the top. In the lead up to his WrestleMania 37 battle with Cesaro, this visionary not only began ordering folks to embrace the vision, he also continued experimenting with his increasingly insane look. The fiery suits and other balmy jackets/attires, combined with a slightly more unhinged Joker going through a midlife crisis personality, all eventually led to Rollins then becoming an undeniable fan favorite once again. It's impossible to get through a single episode of Raw without the sound of his song being roared back at him by thousands of believers. Number 3, Orange Cassidy has been squeezing for years. Orange Cassidy has managed to go from relative unknown to one of the most popular and impressive performers on AEW TV. This wasn't just a case of freshly squeezed turning up for his first day of work as part of Tony Khan's new company and deciding to randomly stick his hands in his pockets though. Cassidy had been getting in his opponents' heads via his half-assed antics since 2010 before signing with AEW, with Chuck Taylor noting to ESPN how he remembers seeing crowds turn on the lazy worker and being confused by his bold gimmick during the time before becoming All Elite. After years of figuring out what parts of the gimmick worked and which needed to be adjusted to elicit the biggest responses though, eventually grew into one of the most popular talents on the independents. And though everyone from Tony Khan to Chris Jericho to a great many All Elite fans once again didn't fully understand what made this slacker, who can outwork just about anyone on the planet when he tries, so special initially, Cassidy inevitably turned all his doubters into believers in the wonderful All Elite years that followed. Number 2, Mark Henry's Hall of Pain wasn't built in a day. It's a good thing Mark Henry signed a 10-year contract with WWE back in 1996, because it pretty much took him the length of that entire first deal to finally find a main event level character that worked. And it wasn't until his violent return from a torn quadriceps in 2005 when the pieces finally started to fall into place for the intimidating powerhouse. After taking out Batista on SmackDown, this new heel force went on to collide with the likes of World Heavyweight Champion Kurt Angle and The Undertaker before unfortunately going down injured again in 2006. And while the next few years would see the savage big man whooping ass a little further down the card, Henry was eventually given the chance to fully grow into the dominant top heel shown glimpses of being during that impactful 2005-06 run. In 2011, The Big Show, Kane, The Great Khali, Sheamus and Randy Orton were all brutally inducted into a Hall of Pain he first started building 6 years earlier. The Destroyer also went on to finally lift World Heavyweight Championship gold as his helpless adversaries crumbled before him, and those watching on were regularly left picking their jaws up off the floor. Number 1, LA Knight has been young since his Triple H workout DVD days. While everybody is now very much talking about SmackDown's one and only megastar, it took a solid decade of trial and error to create the version of LA Knight seen blowing the roof off of arenas around the globe today. As Knight himself noted in a recent appearance on the After the Bell podcast, he's been playing a pretty similar character for around 13 years at this point, and a lot of the things he'd play with and attempt to add to his gimmick were taken from his personality in real life. On top of the everybody part of his shtick coming from his time working in a restaurant years ago, his iconic "yeah" has also been a part of his personality since his first run in WWE all the way back in 2013-14, with Knight appearing in a Triple H workout DVD in the time before eventually showing up as Eli Drake in Impact Wrestling and the NWA. Someone recently spotted him actually uttering one of his unmistakable "yeah" cries as he finished off a few crunches. And that's our list. Know of any other wrestling gimmicks that took years to get over? Well, let us know all about them in the comments section right down below, and don't forget to like, share and click on that subscribe button while you're down there. Please head on over to whatculture.com and find some more fantastic articles just like the one this video you're watching right now is based on. I've been Gareth from What Culture Wrestling. Thank you very much for watching this video today, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye bye!